Let's explore what happens to propagation delay when we double the PMOS width in a CMOS inverter. A CMOS inverter consists of a PMOS transistor on top connected to VDD and an NMOS transistor on bottom connected to ground. First, let's understand how a CMOS inverter works and what affects its speed. A CMOS inverter uses a complementary pair of transistors, one PMOS and one NMOS, working together. The PMOS transistor pulls the output high to VDD, while the NMOS transistor pulls it low to ground. When input goes low, PMOS turns on and charges the output capacitance, creating the rising edge with propagation delay. Propagation delay is the time it takes for the output to respond to an input change. Average propagation delay equals the average of high to low delay and low to high delay. The propagation delay is measured from when the input crosses 50% to when the output crosses 50%. Several parameters affect propagation delay in a CMOS inverter. Propagation delay is proportional to load capacitance divided by drive current. A larger transistor width increases the drive current that can charge or discharge the load. However, larger width also increases parasitic capacitance at the output node. Doubling the PMOS width doubles its size, which affects both current and capacitance. Let's examine how doubling PMOS width affects the drive current. Drain current is proportional to width over length times the gate overdrive squared. When we double the width, the drive current also doubles. Doubled PMOS width provides twice the current to charge the load capacitance during low to high transitions. Now let's look at how parasitic capacitance changes with doubled width. Parasitic capacitance includes gate, drain, and source capacitances. Gate capacitance is proportional to width times length. Doubling width doubles the gate capacitance. The parasitic capacitance increases proportionally with width, adding to the total load. Let's analyze the combined effect on propagation delay. Low to high delay equals total capacitance divided by PMOS current. Total capacitance includes external load plus parasitic capacitances from both transistors. When PMOS width doubles, its current doubles, but its parasitic capacitance also doubles. Original design versus doubled PMOS width design shows the trade-off between current and capacitance. Let's break down what happens to each delay component. New low to high delay has doubled PMOS parasitic capacitance and doubled PMOS current. Breaking this into terms shows different scaling factors for each component. The load capacitance term improves by a factor of 2 due to doubled current. The PMOS parasitic term remains unchanged because both numerator and denominator double. The NMOS parasitic term improves by a factor of 2. What does this mean in practical terms for the propagation delay? The low to high delay decreases, but not by a full factor of 2. The actual improvement depends on the ratio of load capacitance to parasitic capacitance. The delay reduction follows a diminishing returns pattern as PMOS width increases. Don't forget about the high to low transition with NMOS. Since NMOS width is unchanged, its drive current remains the same. However, the total load increased due to the larger PMOS parasitic capacitance. High to low delay now has increased PMOS parasitic capacitance but same NMOS current. This means the high to low delay actually increases slightly. Low to high delay improves while high to low delay worsens, creating asymmetric behavior. Let's summarize what happens to propagation delay. The average propagation delay slightly decreases overall. Low to high delay improves significantly due to doubled PMOS current. High to low delay worsens slightly due to increased parasitic capacitance. Typical improvement ranges from 15 to 30% reduction depending on load conditions. The net result is faster rising edges but slower falling edges with modest overall improvement. The key takeaway is that wider transistors trade increased drive current for increased parasitic capacitance,